Development Council, your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. For 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, Tech Target, People Managing People. We offer 100-plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile Scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100-plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500-plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100-plus authorized training partners and 50-plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry-level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000-plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best practices. Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. For 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, Tech Target, People Managing People. We offer 100-plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile Scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100-plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500-plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100-plus authorized training partners and 50-plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry-level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000-plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether
Hello everyone. Hello everyone. I've got a slight echo.
I apologize. I'm so sorry. I've lost my network earlier.
Ah,
So, yes. So Vicky will be starting the session. Please allow me to share my screen, and then I'll hand over the mic to you.
excellent. Thank you, Pritam.
Yeah, no worries. I hope my screen is visible to you all. And thank you everyone for joining today's session. I welcome you all to GSDC Certified Learning, Solving Learning's Effectiveness Challenges in Instructional Design, with the theme that is Design Smarter, Teach Better, Unlock the Secret to High Impact Learning. My name is Preetham. I am going to be your host for this session. If you need any assistance during the session, you can reach out to the chat box and I'll be taking care of it. So as you all know that we have this amazing panel of speaker aligned for this entire webinar series, which is scheduled from 6th October till 10th October, and we have already done with two sessions. And today we'll be having Vicky with us, and she'll be taking us through the topic that is rethinking instructional design, turning pitfalls into best practices. So before she could start with her session, I would like to introduce our hosting organization. So we known as Global Skill Development Council. We are vendor agnostic, vendor neutral. We are globally recognized certification body and we are accredited by NSI and ABICB. We do have 100 plus certification portfolio with us, and I'm very proud to inform you all that we have certified more than 250,000 professionals worldwide, and we have 500 SMEs. They work with us closely to design our deliverables. They are industry experts and they're affiliates from top universities like Harvard, Stanford, MIT, and also, we are associated with 1,000 multinational corporates and 500 Fortune companies and 30 plus universities across the globe. I'm very proud to inform you all that we do have 100 plus authorized training partner across the globe. We do have partner in Asia, Africa, Canada, America, and many other countries. So, would love to thank you those who have joined us through our training partner channel. I'll be sharing the link in the chat box shortly. In case if you're looking for any training program for yourself, you can reach out to our partners to inquire about the training courses or programs that you're looking for. A special thanks to our official media partner, World Press Hub. They cover all our events and press releases. As I mentioned earlier in my previous slide, that we do have 100 plus certification portfolio with us. So our current certification portfolio holds certification on emerging technologies, agile DevOps, quality compliance, learning and development, digital transformation, and so on. So in case if you're looking for any of the certification in order to upskill yourself, please do reach out to a learning advisor to get more details on this, or you can explore our website that is mentioned below, www.gsdcouncil.org, to get more information regarding the certification and to check all the offerings that GSDC has for all of you. What benefits you'll be getting with this certification? So you'll be getting a lifelong membership of GSDC, and with that, you'll be getting certificate upgrade. You'll be having access to all our workshop, boot camps, webinars that we do conduct. And guess what? You'll be having free access to all our exclusive learning program that we have. With that, you'll be getting implementation resources, speaker invites, and newsletter. Isn't it great? Do grab this opportunity and do sign up yourself for this certification. I'll share the link in the chat box. So without any further delay, let me tell you all more about Vicky. She's a creative ed tech expert with over 20 years of experience in the graphics industry and recognition in the UK EdTech 50. She specializes in designing and implementing innovative digital programs for lifelong learners, including the Student E-Mentors Initiative, the ETF National Digital Teaching Professional Framework, and the essential digital skill blended CPD program. Passionate about leveraging ED tech and accessibility to transform education. She is also an early explorer of generative AI. So Vicky has served as a judge for multiple EdTech 50 awards and the Green Gown Award in the digital future. We are very proud to have you, Vicky, with us for this session today. Thank you very much for joining. You can have the handover of the virtual speaker now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pritam, for introducing me. And hello, everyone. Delighted to be with you today. Let me share my screen I hope I'm going to, I need to, yeah. So let me, just a sec, I'm nearly there. Can you see my screen, everyone? Pritam?
Yes, Vicky, we can see your
Okay.
screen.
Excellent. So while I'm sharing my screen, I won't be able to actually see the chat. So Pritam will share your comments and so on. There's quite a few things that we're going to do together. So it's quite important for you to participate as much as you can. So we're going to talk about something we all struggle with, and it is about how to make instructional design really work for us. And the title of his keynote is, as you can read it, is about turning pitfalls into best practices. And that's exactly what we're going to try to do. We'll take those common mistakes that we all know too well and try to flip them around into strategies that make learning stick. So Pritam has already introduced me. I'm French, as you may be able to hear from my accent. I've been based in London, UK, since 1987, so a very, very long time. And my focus is very much on helping education providers and educators, but especially in the further education sector. So what we call further education is vocational education and higher education within that sector for higher apprenticeship, for instance, and helping them in using technologies to drive innovation, boost digital skills, and engage learners. So I've led national EdTech initiatives, and now through my consultancy, as Pritam mentioned, I support organizations with digital transformation, culture change, and training for educators, but always with an eye on creative, inclusive, and effective learning environments. You've got my email address, and if you scan the QR code, you'll be able to connect with me on LinkedIn. Okay, so those are our learning objectives today, or takeaways. And by the end of our time together, you should be able to walk away with 4 things. The first one is your ability to recognize the most common pitfalls in instructional design. The second, you'll have some user-centered design strategies that you can adopt and that can help you avoid the traps. And then the third, it's going to be about looking at practical techniques that you can put into actions straight away. And finally, we'll explore how AI can really be applied responsibly to enhance learning and not replace it. Be careful. So my aim is very much to make this session practical, clear, and something that can be used in your own work tomorrow. Okay, but let's start with you. Think back to the last training course or session that you attended. It might have been online, maybe face-to-face. What frustrated you the most? If we were together in a room, I would be asking you to call it out. But obviously, that's going to be difficult online because there's quite a few of you. So maybe you could pop it into the chat, and Pritam's going to tell me about it. Just put one word, one sentence, something short. Don't put something too long, because otherwise we won't be able to scan it very easily. Thanks. I'll wait for 1 minute. Actually, I can see the chat. A trainer who refused to do an icebreaker. Information overload, yeah, that's a good one. Network breakdown, getting engagement. It's very difficult, isn't it, to get engagement from learners. Trainers kept reading their slides. Okay, not connecting virtual audience. Okay, so we've got quite a few here. Thank you. So boring slides, couldn't hear properly, no chance to practice, no ice-breaking activities, too much content. Content overload is often the case, isn't it? And taking, commenting, just reading from the slides is definitely not something that we want to do. Now, here's the thing, those frustrations aren't about you as learners, they're not because you weren't paying attention or didn't care. They happen because of poor design choices. And this is the thread we're going to follow. It's not the learners who fail, it's very much the design that fails them. And the good news is we can fix that. So let's flip that question and think about the best learning experience you've ever had. It could be at school, it could be at work, or even a hobby. What made it stick? What made a difference for you? For me, one of mine was learning how to create an AI generative using generative AI video and picture. And I had an experienced colleague who showed me once, and I had to do it for myself for a live project. And I made a lot of mistakes, but I got immediate feedback and I could try again. And that's how it made it memorable for me and very, very useful. So when most of us reflect, it's not the PowerPoint slides or the reading list that really come to mind. It's relevance, it's practice, it's feedback, and it's accessibility. Being able to learn in a way that works for us. And that's the lens we're going to use today. So I hope that's going to be helpful for you. Let's move on. Why? Because the tough reality is that research actually shows that up to 70% of training is forgotten within a week. Do you imagine 70%? Why? Because of what we call the knowing-doing gap. People can know something in the moment, but they don't actually do it differently afterwards. Think of, I've had a lot of that actually, think of health and safety training. Most people can recall it, the fire evacuation, for instance, fire evacuation procedure. And we can all recall it right after the session. But when the alarm goes off 6 months later, panic sets in and we forget. So that's a knowing-doing gap. It widens every time we fall into poor design habits. And that brings us to our pitfall framework. So let's move on and let's have a look at our pitfall framework. Now, there are 6 big pitfalls that trip up instructional design again and again. It's about failing. Let me take my my laser thingy. It's about failing at adopting a user-centered design. That would be the most important one for me. Obviously, you've mentioned earlier on content overload and the cognitive, we'll look into the cognitive load theory in a minute. And then obviously it's about weak assessment strategies. Are they align with what you want to find out? Lack of applications and social learning, as well as weak measurements and missed insights, and overlooking the power of AI. Now, the structure for today is quite simple. We'll explore each pitfall and we'll run a short activity to bring it to life. And then we'll flip it into a best practice. So let's start, and let's start with the first pitfall. The pitfall number one is forgetting the learner. And too often, courses are built around the subject matter expert slides or what the organization wants to say, rather than what the learners actually need to do. And when we design without putting the learner at the center of it all, we miss the mark. Think about compliance module. And very often, those are just lifting text from a policy document. And learners don't engage and nothing changes. User-centered design flips it around. We start with needs and expectations and we build learners' personas. Like, I don't know, the time-poor manager who needs quick hits, or the neurodiverse learner who benefits from chunked content. And we test it with real users so that we've got a taster group. When we remember the learner, everything else flows from that. So here is our learner-centered design bits. And let's bring it to life with personas. Imagine that you're designing a course on leadership. One of your persona would be a busy senior manager, and they've got literally 10 minutes between meetings. So they need micro-learning modules, maybe very short videos as well. Another persona could be a graduate, a new graduate, with loads of time and very little confidence. They may benefit from structured practice and guided feedback. Another one could be a global team member who often works in low bandwidth. So they need content that works offline and maybe in text form instead of heavy video. So we only design for, if we only design for the average learner, then we'll fail most of them. But if we design for those edge cases, everyone does benefit. Now, another thing which is really important when I talk about learner-centered design, I'm talking about conducting, obviously, training needs analysis, because you need to understand where the learner actually starts from. So having a baseline data is quite important to be able to measure the learning journey traveled. Validating the development of your learning objects with taster group will make a real difference. They'll be able to spot any content relevance issues. Establishing ongoing feedback loop is also really important so that you can iterate your learning content as and on you go. So it is constantly updated. And remember, especially if you're doing something around technologies, the world is changing fast and you'll need to update it anyway. Measure also success with ratings and evaluations, and that will give you an insight on the satisfaction from your learners. One reason user-centered design matters are objectives. Very often, we've seen objectives that are saying, by the end of the course, you will understand, you will be aware of. The problem is you can't actually measure understanding or being aware. So they don't really tell us if learners can actually do something new. Smart objectives will help us fix this. Instead of, for instance, instead of fire safety, understanding fire safety, we could say By the end of the session, learners will be able to list 3 steps to take a fire evacuation. It's specific, it's measurable, and it's observable. If the objective is clear and centered on what the learner needs to do, then we can design assessments and activities that actually test and support that. Okay, this is our second interactive activity. So again, you're going to add it to the chat. This is sample learning slide. So what do you notice? What's wrong with it? And please add it to the chat. And I'll have a look because I can open my chat.
Vicky, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the screen, whatever we are saying, it's blur, and I don't think so. We are getting messages from the participants; they're not able to read the words. Can you help me? Which slide number it is?
This one is slide number 10, but it's not
Okay,
meant to be read.
I'll try to launch
Is that all right?
the post that I've added. Okay, dear participants, I'm launching the poll. See if you can answer this. Please drop your answer in the chat box.
Yeah, thank you. Quite a few of you are answering the activities on the quiz, and a lot of you have answered it as well in the chat. Brilliant. Okay. Shall we get going? Do you want to show the responses, Pritam?
I think they only are able to put it in the chat box as of now.
Okay. So that's fine. Yes, exactly. I mean, I've read your I've read your comments, and yes, exactly. There's far too much text. There is no hierarchy of type, so you don't know. You can't really read it properly. It's hard to read. Some of you noticed that it wouldn't work as well, probably on a mobile phone. And for learners with dyslexia, it would be a real nightmare. The key message is really lost. It's impossible. So this is a good example of content overload. And if learners can't process the content, they certainly can't apply it. And that's really the main message from this slide. And it takes us to our pitfall 2 about content overload. Overloading our learners, we've all seen it, the 80 slide deck crammed with bullet points or the e-learning module that reads like a textbook. The brain can only hold so much at once. And when we flood learners with content, they totally disengage and I'm the first one to disengage. So there's a really, really easy fix: less but better. Chunk content into manageable bites. Focus only on what learners must know and do. Use storytelling or rather than data dumps. A good question to ask yourself is if this content wasn't there, would learners actually still learn what they need to learn? And if the answer is yes, just cut it. It's not just about cutting content as well. It's about how we deliver it. If we rely on one activity or one format, learners will switch off as well. So we need to bring a range of activities and variety to keep people engaged. And engagement, as you know, will drive retention. So repetition can be powerful in learning, obviously with spaced learning and so on, but it needs to be relevant and it needs to be varied. Repeating the same task in the same way just creates boredom. So here, content overload is one of the cognitive load theories, and the fix is about dual coding. So dual coding is when you put information, you present information which is processed through both verbal and visual channels simultaneously, and that is going to create two separate pathways to memory and then enhance learning and understanding and recall. And then adding also some metacognitive strategies will add values and will help to make knowledge stick. Now, in terms of metacognitive strategies, it's about thinking about thinking. It's about encouraging learners to critically reflect on the ways they learn. And self-regulation by planning, monitoring, and evaluating our own learning processes will make a real difference. So self-questioning, for instance, annotating drawings, concept maps, checklists, and peer teaching, so that they really have that sort of dialogue between learners where they can share what they've understood and question each other. But the positive self-talk is really, really important. It's about encouraging and motivating positive thinking to build confidence and perseverance during learning, and adding some fun as well. Fun makes a real difference. Another cause of overload is ignoring accessibility. And I had a real struggle when I put together that slide deck. I was thinking accessibility should be at the beginning as part of adopting a user-centered design process. And accessibility should be by design, not an added thing. But well, I decided at GN to put it here because we sometimes assume that everyone learns in the same way, but barriers are everywhere. And really, accessibility should be in every of the pitfalls. So I've decided to put it here anyway. So if text is too small to read, videos without captions, jargon that non-native speakers like me don't understand, accessibility is not just about compliance with regulations. It's very much about effective learning. It's about effectiveness. If learners can't access the learning content, then they can't learn. So think about options. They, such as captions, they support learners who are deaf. They also help non-native speakers, and they help people watching in a noisy environment, and even those who just process better by reading. When we design for accessibility, everyone wins. And this slide deck is not slide deck. This slide and infographic is from Worcestershire County Council. And the Worcestershire County Council has the Sculpt framework, which is 6 things to consider when creating accessible information. First of all, the structure. So make sure you've got a hierarchy with headings. So title, H1, H2, H3. So individuals who are using readers will be able to follow the structure very easily. Color and contrast are important, obviously, and that's a C for us. And using images, if you use an image, make sure you add alt text in the back end, because obviously it's going to help those with readers again. Links, make sure that all those links are named. Don't put click here, because click here doesn't mean anything. And then we've got plain English. Try to use very, very simple text, common language to everyone, avoid any kind of jargon. And then if you use any table to structure your page, make sure that you don't merge cells and things like that, or split cells and so on. So I think this is a really nice infographic. Now we're moving into our pitfall 3, which is about weak assessment strategies. Too often, assessments check memory rather than ability, and multiple choice quizzes at the end of a module will test recall. They don't actually tell us whether someone has actually been able to do the task, or if it is something which needs to be applied. So imagine teaching someone to drive. You wouldn't just give them a quiz on road signs. Having said that, road signs are important, don't get me wrong, but you put them behind the wheel and watch them drive. Well, in the same way, assessment should be authentic. If we want someone to handle a customer complaints, for instance, let's give them a scenario where they must choose how to respond. And that's going to tell us a lot more than just whether they can define a term. Now, formative assessment is really, really important. And it's going to really help learners understand how it is that they are progressing and that they're making progress as part of their learning journey. Aligning those assessments to your objectives, which are SMART, this is as well going to make a difference. And then, of course, it's about giving timely feedback, and that's key. And that's going to take us to our next slide, which is about constructive feedback and reward strategies. Now, I'm a strong believer in gamifications. In fact, I love playing games. I'm a board game fanatic. And I apply gamification a lot in everything I do. Feedback is probably the one thing that makes a really real difference in learning. The feedback needs to be constructive. It needs to be timely. If you give feedback 2 weeks after an activity, that feedback won't have any effect, or very little anyway. And it needs to be focused on what it is to be improved and how to improve it. So you could say, instead of, you could say, well done for doing A because of B and C. And have you thought about doing a D? That would definitely demonstrate E and F. And those things are going to help the learner identify what it is that they've done well or not so well, and why, and how it is that they can actually develop further. So it's that stretch and challenge sort of perspective. So instead of just marking an answer wrong, you could say, well, you chose option B, and in real life, that response might escalate the situation. Try option C. It will de-escalate and will reassure the customer. And that way, the learner will see the why as well as the what. And then there's the reward. So when I talk about reward strategy, it's about recognition. It's about telling people, well done, a word of praise, a digital badge, a leaderboard, seeing progress tracked over time, and reward will reinforce behavior and keep that motivation alive. So when we think assessment, let's think it in four. Assess, give constructive and positive feedback, and reward progress. And those three steps are essential. Now, let's try it. This is a little interactive activity, and this is a poll, so you don't need to put it in the chat. We're going to look at these three examples of activities, assessment activities. And you need to say which one is the most effective. So I'll give Pritam, he's going to share the poll with you, and we'll have a look. I'll give you a minute.
Sure. Before that, I want to know, Vicky, this slide number, which one is this?
So that's number 15.
Okay, great. Here it is. I've launched the poll.
Excellent, thanks. Okay. I think it's gone static, so I suppose nobody else is going to respond at this point. Okay, so most of you believe that the second, well, let's be clear, nobody chose the first one, and well done. Nobody wants to read a 20-page manual and answer a multiple choice quiz. So that's definitely not the best way or the most effective way to test, assess that learning has taken place. Most of you have chosen number 2, and at 76%. And yes, exactly. Scenario and real world practice really drive application. Quizzes test recall, which is the first one, but without practice, knowledge rarely transfers to the job. And that's why user testing with learners is essential. They'll tell us if the practice actually feels authentic. So example 2, gives very safe simulated practice in applying knowledge and making decisions. Building confidence is definitely going to be there. It's good because they are in that secure environment. It is a role play after all. It's a step closer to reality. And it's essential, especially if you're working in a dangerous environment, such as a building site, for instance. So that's going to be very effective. Example 3 is going to be even stronger. Why? Because it is authentic. Learners apply knowledge directly in their real world context, and it bridges the knowing and doing gap most effectively. However, to get them there, you may want to do that second step, which is about the scenario and the role play sort of simulation. And that can be done easily in VR, for instance, or something like that. So the key message is very much that scenarios are powerful because they let the learners test their knowledge in a very safe environment. But when we go one step further and create space for a real world practice, that's where learning truly transfers into performance. Both are very valuable. So you're all right in many ways. However, the closer to reality, the stronger the learning impact will be. Okay? So I'll stop this and we'll move to our next pitfall. And the next pitfall is basically a lack of application and social learning. Now, I strongly believe in social learning again. I like talking to people and exchanging, so it makes sense to me. And really that example that we've just looked at brings us to that pitfall 4. It is about the lack of application. So knowledge on its own doesn't change behavior. People need opportunities to apply what it is that they've learned and to learn with and from other people. So think about cooking. You don't master cooking by reading recipes and being able to recite a recipe or knowing it by heart. You master it by cooking, by tasting it, by adjusting it, adding a bit of salt or pepper and so on. And often you'll be able to get tips from others in the kitchen as well. They'll be able to taste it and think, have you thought about adding some spice in there? So it's exactly the same with instructional design. Without practice and social interaction, learning fades fast and is tasteless. So according to Aristotle, we are social animals. So adding communities of practice, opportunities for discussions, sharing of effective practices and so on, will give us a sense of being part of a community. And just as practice is essential, so is variety. So having a mixing, a range of different activities, discussions, scenarios, quick polls, hands-on tasks will keep energy really high and really prevent people from being bored and demotivated. So as I said earlier, repetition is important in embedding learning with spaced learning and so on, but it has to be reframed in different ways to stick. So how do you currently measure learning within your activities? So again, this is another poll, and Pritam, it's slide 17.
Sure.
So this time it's a multiple choice. And I think you can tick more than one. You should be able to tick more than one. Cool. Okay. So 26, 27, 35 of you responded. Excellent. So one of you doesn't actually formally measure training effectiveness. Okay, I think we've gone static. So we've got 45, no, one more. 46% of the participants have actually responded. And it's a lot of you have gone for test scores and knowledge checks, so quizzes really, summative assessment at the end of learning block. Completion rates, obviously, if people complete it, it's already a good sign. MOOCs are only completed by 10% of the registered participants, which are very low. Learner satisfaction is important as well. On the job application, 58% of you are actually measuring it on the job, which is very good. And the business impact is obviously the most effective because then you can see why an organization should actually develop training and what that training return on investment effectively is going to be. Let me take a picture of that. That will be really useful to reflect, for me to reflect afterwards as well. Okay, so I can see completion surveys, attendance can be very, very common, but the thing was metric actually they measure the activity. They've attended, they've rated satisfaction. They don't actually measure impact. If we want to measure impact, like confidence, competence, and performance back on the job, then you need to link it. And that's where the feedback loop is really important, and user testing also powerful. So getting the learners after, let's say, after a month of completing the training to say, okay, you've done that training. Have you applied it in your job? If so, what have you noticed? What difference did it make? Do you think it has helped you being more effective and so on? So having that dialogue will engage the learner and will give you really important data as well. So it's very much about you at the beginning of the training to have baseline data, finding out through a training needs analysis where the learner starts from, and then at the end, looking at satisfaction and so on. So you get that data as well. And then a month later, or maybe 6 months later, you can contact them again and say, okay, what do you remember of that training? What is it that we could do to support you to develop further? Okay, let's move on because I'm conscious of time. We've got now pitfall 5, which is weak measurement and missed insights. So this leads us very much to that pitfall 5. Let me take another picture of that. Here we go. And too often we stop at tick box metrics, attendance rate, completion certificates, smile sheets, and so on. But as I said, this doesn't tell us whether learning made a difference. Did they apply the skills? Did performance improve? Did the learner actually feel more confident? So imagine, for instance, you're running a fitness program. If you only measure but how many people are turning up to the gym, then it's not going to tell you whether they got fitter. The same is true with learning. Measurement should tell us if people can do something better as a result of the learning. Now let's brainstorm. AI in instructional design. So that's slide 19, Pritam. So if AI could solve one instructional design challenge for you, what would it be? So I think it's probably going to be as part of the chat, is it? Or can they?
Yes, Vicky, they have to mention the answer over the chat box.
Okay. So it's about answering it in the chat. Let me have a look. Video, I noticed that you're asking about the slides. The slides will be sent to you, don't worry. I think they'll be sent as a PDF. And there's a recording being made of the session, so you'll be able to revisit it. And that's a nice pace learning opportunity. Okay, so nobody is responding. You're welcome. So does it mean you don't use AI as part of your job in instructional design? I answered via the poll. Okay, so I can't see the answers in the poll. Will you be able to share the answers, Pritam?
I apologize. We do not have access right now. We request you to please drop your answer in the chat box.
Okay. But you will send the answers afterwards to everyone, will you?
I'll check and I'll get back to them. Yes.
Cool. Brilliant. Training effectiveness, yes. Audio track, obviously, that makes such a difference. Now, there's loads of tools that can help you in terms of training. Analyzing the data, of course, yeah, it makes that's powerful, isn't it? Quick analysis, provide support in developing content, yeah, neurodiverse experience, yes. For accessibility, it's marvelous, isn't it? Data. You do need to demonstrate the effectiveness of your sessions, don't you? Or sessions or learning objects. Develop subject content, yes. Generating ideas, yes. I do. Create a storyboard for me and media, yeah. Okay, so we've got quite a few, and a few of you have responded as well to the poll. So yes, when you're, it's also about thinking from a learner perspective. So some of you mentioned accessibility. So the language barrier, for instance, AI is going to make your content read in any language. Time constraint, reading difficulties where you've got text to voice, for instance. When you've got too much content, you can actually compress it, and it can add confidence to the learners. So I see some really, really good answers. And translation, personalized support, simplifying content, and generating ideas and scenarios and so on. So yes, those things are exactly the barriers that AI can really help us tackle. And you're right, AI has got a huge potential and it can make learning far more personalized. So we're looking at adaptive AI as opposed to generative AI when we look at personalization, more accessible and more efficient. But it only works if we test it with learners again. Otherwise, there is a risk that we reinforce bias and create new barriers. So AI should really amplify inclusion and not reduce it. So AI is there not to replace instructional design, but it's here to amplify it. And it's for us to be responsible and to make sure that design learning is more personalized, more accessible, and more impactful. I've got the impression I'm repeating myself right now. Okay, so that's pitfall 6, which is about overlooking AI. Some designers are just going to ignore it entirely and missing on opportunities. Others are going to rush in and just use it uncritically. And that may create bias or inaccessible output. The best path is in the middle, really, using AI to support design while keeping learners at the center of everything you do. For example, AI can generate the captions instantly and provide translations or create adaptive practice tasks. But it can't replace your judgment as a human designer. So our role is to make sure that AI is used responsively with empathy and awareness. It can be, it will make a real difference. So in terms, if we have a look here on the slide in terms of personalized learning path, I'm thinking about tailoring pace, for instance, with adaptive AI, where you can actually have practice activities repeated to individual needs and instead of one fits it all. Learners get targeted reinforcement where they struggle and accelerated pathways where they show mastery. And that is going to help them be resilient and motivated and not get bored. There's nothing worse than being checked again and again on things you already know. For designers, this means shifting from building a linear course and designing adaptive learning ecosystem. And that's the difficulty, isn't it? In terms of accessibility, I've already mentioned quite a few. It's about converting text into speech, reducing barriers for learners from different languages, abilities, and contexts. So those things are going to be quite powerful. And then there's impact. A lot of you in the chat mentioned analytics and data, and AI really does enable smarter analytics. It's going to be moving beyond completion and surveys to really reveal patterns in engagement, application, and performance. And that's where you're going to be able to see, something must be going wrong here, because everybody is moving through that really slowly or really fast. And that usually says something, doesn't it? So it's not just about seeing who completed the course, but who applied themselves into that course. And that intervention makes a really big difference. And it's about responsible use as well. So it's about, so it's all about the risks here on the slides. It's about bias in data, inaccessible interfaces, over-reliance on automation. So it needs to be tested. And again, it needs to be tested with a diverse user group so that you can really get feedback from different perspectives. Embedding ethical guidelines is important, and always prioritizing learners' trust and transparency. So the goal is to use AI as an amplifier of human-centered design and not a replacement for everything. It is a catalyst for more personalized, accessible, and impactful learning experience. It's a tool, nothing more. Now, your framework for success. Now, we've got, do you remember we were looking at those pitfalls, and now we've shifted that framework and looking at it from a positive view. It's about success, isn't it? So it's very much about starting from the learners, creating smart objectives, and making sure that you adopt a user-centered design process. You design for inclusion, so you make sure that all learners can access and engage. You leverage AI wisely, use it to personalize and scale, but always test with learners and measure for impact. Track what matters: confidence, competence, and performance. And if you remember nothing else today, remember these frameworks. It turns pitfalls into best practices. No content overload, bite size, reward strategies, as well as positive, constructive feedback to encourage perseverance and motivate learners. Design smart assessment and measure what matters authentically as much as possible. So your challenge, and you can see it right at the bottom of the slide, is to choose one pitfall to avoid and one strategy to apply in your next project. Even if it's a small shift, it can transform your learning and the learning impact, not so much your learning. Well, it will apply your learning from today, but most importantly, it will also transform the learning that you deliver. So I'm going to stop here and we'll come back to the last slides afterwards, but I'm going to take some questions from you because we've covered quite a lot of ground, and I'd love to hear your questions. So pop them into the chat and we'll take as many as we can. We'll need to stop, I think, a good 6 minutes before the end, so that I can finish my last 3 slides. So Pritam, can you, I'll see, yeah, I can read the chat actually. I've got the chat.
Okay, no worries. If you want, I can read it. Let me know what is convenient for you.
Oh, can you recommend books that really helped you in designing learning programs? There's one, let me see, I've got it somewhere. Yes. I don't know if you can you see my screen? Can you see me? So it's called Rosenshine's Principles in Action by Tom Sherrington. That's a really good, it's a very short, and that's why I like it, a very short book, so I'll type it in if you want. Rosenshine.
Do you want me to read the further questions?
I'm just typing quickly, Principles in Action by Tom Sherrington. So I use that book regularly, actually. That's a good one to use, to be honest with you. It's compact, It's short, small bites, and very practical. And he's done, Tom Sherrington has done quite a few books as well. So I hope that's helpful, yeah. More questions? Let me have a look. Can you also suggest resources that can help as an instructional designer? As an instructional designer, other resources, I can't think of any right now, but Aminat, just connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll have a think about it, and I can share some on the through private messages, if that's okay with you. Yiwen, how do you use SMART objectives when we're designing for soft skills and leadership competencies? Often these are intangible interpersonal behavior or only pop up situationally. Crisis management. Okay, so SMART objectives need to be measurable. So it's important for you to actually think in terms of whether it can be measured. So for instance, asking them to identify and describe, for instance, at least two key points that they've retained and how it is that they've used it. So that would be a way to be smart. How to make sure that they're going to apply two practical ways to deal with discrimination. So it's very much about being able to demonstrate applying. So for leadership, for instance, it would be at least applying one leadership style or two leadership style with two different type of individual. One who's really confident and can be left alone, for instance, to get on with a task, and someone else who needs a lot of support, where you're going to perhaps add a more coaching approach. So that kind of thing, you can see. Does it help, Yi? Is that what you wanted? Oh, brilliant. Cool. Any other questions from you? So you've got my LinkedIn. Thank you for putting it in the chat, Pritam. So you all want textbooks, don't you? I'm sure. Have you checked Coursera and places like that where you've got online training, and very often those are free. In terms of thank you. Okay, so the presentation is not finished. If you haven't got any questions, I'll move on. Thank you. That's lovely. I really appreciate your feedback. Excellent. Thank you. Oh, I'm putting lots of hearts. Okay, let's move on. We haven't finished. Please don't go. I'm moving on. Now, do you remember the learning objectives at the beginning of my presentation? Now, They're a perfect example of what you should not do. And what was wrong with those learning objectives? Pritam, the poll? Or no, just put it in the chat. It's going to be easier, isn't it? What's wrong with it? It's not specific. Well done. It's not smart. No. Excellent. It's too general. It doesn't mean anything. You're not, yeah, not smart. Well done. So let's move on. Instead of these, really, we should have done those sort of smart learning objectives, which is very much identify measurable. So identify preempting common pitfalls. By the end of this keynote, you will be able to identify and describe at least 3 common instructional design pitfalls and outline one strategy to preempt each. So I hope you will be able to do that. Secondly, ensure content clarity and relevance. By the end, you should be able to apply 2 practical techniques to ensure your content is clear, concise, and relevant to learner needs. So it's about training needs, it's about content overload, it's about dual coding, metacognitive practices, accessibility. Then we've got integrating meaningful assessment and feedback. So by the end, you will be able to explain how to integrate at least one meaningful assessment method. I've got assessment twice in there, my apologies. And one constructive design approach into their own learning design. So that's important as well. And think authentic. Always think in terms of doing learning, knowing and doing gap. That's really important. And we need to narrow this gap as much as possible when we are doing assessment, and constructive feedback constantly with some gamification element to encourage motivation. Peer support is important, social interaction, and enhancing engagement with media and interactivity. So it's all about at least 2 media and interactive strategies to engage learners. So I hope this was very useful to all of you, and that gives you a good example of 4 learning objectives, and which are not smart, and the same version, which is far more constructive and more guiding for learners, more measurable in any ways. And my last slide is putting a cherry on the top. Cool. And my last slide is my thank you note. So it's very much about appreciating that you could join in, and thank you very much for putting loads of feedback and notes in the chat. Without that, it would have been dead boring. So I will read the notes, and I look forward to being connected with you on LinkedIn. You've got my LinkedIn details online, as well as my social details. So I'm on Instagram, I'm on Blue Sky. I don't use Twitter anymore since it's become X. So you can look at conversations I've had on there, but I'm not really active on there very much anymore. But I'm very much active on Instagram, where I'm testing a lot, exploring AI from a graphics and animation viewpoint. And on Blue Sky as well, I've just started. And you've got my Knowledge Hub, where you've got loads of my videos and articles that I've written. So thank you so much, everyone. I'll stop sharing. And it was lovely to be with you today. I hope it was useful. And I look forward to continuing this discussion with you after this training. Please note, I will be away. I'm taking a break for 1 week from tomorrow, so I won't be very active on LinkedIn, but don't worry, I will come back to you when I come back from my holiday. Okay? Thank you and goodbye.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Vicky. You have an amazing holiday ahead. Thank you very much for amazing session. It was very interactive one. I can see the messages coming from the participants. They loved it. Thank you so much for being here. And definitely we'll be reaching out to you for further opportunities with the GSDC, and we would love to have you as a speaker again. Thank you again. Thank you so much. I'll be having some quick announcement for all the participants. So I'll be sharing my screen.
Okay. Before you do, Pritam, I wanted to thank you as well for all your support and the polls and so on.
No worries. Thank you. It was my pleasure. Thank you so much, Vicky. So yes, dear participants, this is regarding the today's feature certification, certified instructional designer. You can opt out for this certification. You can use this promo code, which is instruct pro 20 to get 20% discount on this certification program. This certification that in case if you opt out any certification for from GSDC, that will come with a lifetime validation, which gives you learning resources where you'll be getting a lot of case studies to work on, e-learnings, book of knowledge, and you'll be getting lifelong learning, and which gives you learning flexibility. You will be getting a chance to connect with a training partner channel, and you'll be having a lot of opportunity to work on the capstone project. That is something real-time AI simulation practice. So do grab this opportunity. We'll be having this offer only certain period of time. So go for it. I'll be sharing the details. I've already shared the offer details in the chat box. I'll share it again after this announcement. This is regarding the utility tool where you can use this promo code August 100 to get 100% off. So how this tool will help you? It will help you to improve your LinkedIn profile score, your AI skill score. Also, it will help you to build your personal brand and your resume. So go through this utility tool. I'll share the link shortly. So you have to use this promo code again, make a note of it, and apply that code while accessing this tool. You'll be getting this access completely free, like 100% off. Let me make this announcement. Tomorrow we'll be having another session of this webinar series, and Tom will be presenting the topic that is measuring learning effectiveness, tools and techniques. Do not miss this one. Please do join us on 9th October 2025 with the same time slot, 10:30 a.m. Central, 11:30 p.m. Singapore time. So another series that we are conducting since 6th October, and which will be till 10th of October, we are having this webinar series for the first time in GSDC, that is tackling diagnostic challenges with generative AI in healthcare. Please do join us for this session, or you can recommend your friend or colleague. We have amazing panel of healthcare experts aligned for this. Also, we are running this AI tool challenge. We have amazing panel of AI expert. We have already done with 33 sessions before, and it was really amazing session. We got a lot of feedback from our participants, and they're loving it. So, the AI expert, the speakers are giving live demo session, 30 minutes live demo sessions with practical walkthrough on each AI tool. So don't miss this. I'll will be updating the new times and dates shortly with all of you. So we do have these three winner who have referred maximum people to our session, and we'll be announcing all the final winners at the end of this webinar series. So you still have 2 days to refer maximum people and be our winner. In case if you want to be a speaker for our upcoming event as a featured global speaker, as you all know that we are having global platform like webinar, learning capsule and podcast. We'd love to connect with you all over social media. Scan this QR to connect with us over the LinkedIn. Check our website, that is www.gsdcouncil.org, to get all information or all the offerings that GSDC has for all of you. Connect with us over the WhatsApp group to get daily update on event, webinar or boot camps that we usually do schedule. And please do share your reviews on the Trust Pilot. You'll find the link in the chat box. And thank you again, everyone, for joining today's session. Thank you very much, Vicky, for your time. I hope to see you all for the upcoming session as well. Until then, take care and keep learning. Thank you.